Hey everybody, welcome into our makeshift studio out here at the Hitting Zone. I got my buddy Mitch Thomas with me here, and Mitch, thanks for inviting us over, and we're hanging out here in the Hitting Zone. And we got a couple of special guests today. I've got Chase Krogman with the White Sox organization, and Justin Dirden with the Houston Astros organization, talking to us today about hitting. Guys, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I always say I'm just the Joe Schmo, you know, so I have to get all the good guys on here to talk about this stuff, which is fun for me because it's informational. We're always trying to build an opportunity for our viewers, parents, players, coaches, to hear from guys that are getting it done, that are doing it, that are at whatever level they are, talking about baseball.
Yep.
So guys, let's jump into this. We've been talking about data and technology, especially in hitting, and both you guys are position players, correct?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What position?
Outfield.
Outfield?
Yep. Anywhere. Outfield as well.
Outfield as well. You gunning people down?
Yeah.
And more than me.
Yeah.
But so hitting is preeminent when you're in the field and whatnot. It's the old adage: if you can swing it, they'll find a place for you. Correct?
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. Yep.
So, as you've been growing and moving up in the ranks, you're looking at you were at high A last season.
I was in low A last season, hoping to be starter this year and keep progressing from there.
Yep. Finished high A last year. Yep.
Finished high A.
Yep.
Guys, how hard is it to even hit in the minors?
I mean, it's tough. Like, especially at the lower levels, the pitchers are still finding their command, still trying to not throw 100 at your face. So, no, it's definitely. But it builds you as a hitter. So once you get to the big leagues, you have a better play discipline. So, I mean, it's there for a reason.
Yeah, same thing. You know, pitchers are always throwing harder, and then once you get up to the higher levels, they can really find those spots on the plate that they find your holes and things of that nature. But balls are moving in ways you probably didn't even imagine up there. So it's crazy. It's really hard.
You know, it's funny you bring that up because I was watching the MLB one time. They were talking to a scout, and they were asking him, you know, what's one of the first things you look at from a hitter? And he said, the first thing I look at is, do they flinch? The guy's like, what do you mean, do they flinch? He says, it's just not a natural act to get in a box and have somebody throw 95 at your melon. And I think that, I mean, all joking aside, that's the truth of it, right? Just the for lack of a better way to put it, courage to step in a box and you say, you know, it's 95 at your face because they're still working everything out. How difficult is that?
I would say the first time I saw 95, I was probably flinching a little bit. But I think the big part is just seeing it. The more and more you see, you get more comfortable. And the more comfortable you're on the box, the more successful you'll be. Like if you watch any big league game, every guy in there looks like they've been that's their home. Like they look as comfortable as they do laying on the couch. So
building routines, basically. Like you step in a box, they have a routine. I mean, everybody looks at Nomar Garciaparra as a guy that if you guys know who I'm talking about. Okay, I was gonna say I don't know if you guys are too young or not to know who Nomar is or not, but he was a guy that had, I mean, he spent what seemed like an eternity in the batter's box, adjusting his cleats, you know, smacking them down. Do you guys have those routines that you built to help to get comfortable with facing that kind of velo?
Yeah, 100%. Usually for me, I usually try to keep it simple. I get in the box, usually tap the inside corner. I'll bring the bat up, look at the pitcher, and then bring it back around every single time. And I think it helps me get inside of me and not focus on, you know, what I'm about to face. Helps me feel what I'm supposed to be feeling in the box, so that way I'm ready to hit 95, 97, or whatever it may be. So, yeah, 100%.
Do you have a routine, Chase?
Yeah, I'll kind of get in, I'll dig in with my back foot, touch the outside corner, inside. I've always done this thing where kind of Ichiro-ish, it's kind of where I got it from. I'll kind of give the point to the pitcher, come back, a little practice swing. I just try to repeat that every time.
Little Jim Thome?
Yeah,
those are for our older fans, if you know. Because I used to.
Well, Ichiro, man, it's been around a while.
Yeah, but I mean, he reminds me of like Jim Thome, not a guy that's going to slap a baseball around the field. You know, he's got a little bit of pop. So that's when I had my routine. That's what I did. Is I was a Jim Thome kind of guy, or Jeff Bagwell. I love the way that I just always thought it was intimidating to have a little bit of that swagger in a box, that comfort. And I also, do you feel that routine also allows for like a release routine? Like, let's say you swung at a terrible slider, so it spikes in front of the plate, but you're so gung ho on it, you swing and miss. Is that time that through your routine, it allows you to make those mental adjustments and release right away to reset? Do you think that routines help you do that?
Yeah. My freshman year, actually, in college, we had a mental guy come in, and he talked about something called red light, green light. Green light was the one where you swung, it wasn't too bad of a miss, maybe you fouled off, you were right on it, so you'd step out, look at your spot on the bat or whatever, get back in. The red light was, okay, that was that nasty curveball, like I swung and missed, that looked like a fastball all the way. So you come out, you find a physical touch, so instead of, you might look at your bat, do your batting gloves, and then look at your bat again, get back in, helps you focus back in on the moment, and that routine helps with the red light, green light, so yeah, 100%, I would agree.
Yeah, I would agree with that. We have some teammates. Everybody has something different. Like me, I'll step out. I don't want to get too far away from the box. I'm going to make sure I'm still locked in the box. So I have one teammate. He won't even, if he takes a bad swing or whatever, he won't get out of the box. And I've talked to him. He's from the Dominican Republic. He speaks pretty good English. But he says he just wants to stay in the box and he digs in real hard, pointing at the pitcher, because that's how he competes. Like he doesn't want to stray away from the box. Like he wants to let the pitcher know and.
You fooled him.
Yeah, he got him. Be like, he's coming at him for this next pitch. So.
On the other hand, I think it's interesting because I remember people talking about Gary Sheffield. And I mean, he was always flipping that bat and whatnot. And I've heard a lot of pitchers talk about it. That was kind of intimidating the first time they saw Gary Sheffield. Of course, the name carries a lot of weight, But then I was listening. Pitcher first time he's facing Gary Sheffield. He's on the mound. He's looking at him, and that bat flip. He said it was disconcerting. He said, "Man, it was kind of intimidating." Are there things you try and do to kind of throw the pitcher off with stuff like that?
Me personally, not really. I keep it simple. I'm a pretty low-key guy, as Mitch probably knows. But no, I try and get in. I try and I intimidate them, hopefully, from what I can do with my bat.
Sure.
I mean? If I hit a double last at bat, they have that in their brain. Maybe they'll do something different. I try not to get too crazy with it, but maybe that worked for him. So.
No, I totally agree with that. Like your play should be kind of what intimidates. I mean, you can ask the pitchers if that move gets them. Yeah. I don't know if it really does anything as far as intimidation goes. But yeah, no, I agree. The play should be intimidating.
Very good.
Do you guys, I think, getting to watch both of you, I think, Justin, I've known you for maybe, I guess, since you were a freshman, sophomore, maybe in college. I even got to share the field with you a little bit, playing in summer leagues. Chase, obviously, has been here for a long time. Seeing you guys work, you're really humble in your work ethic. And, leading into that conversation of what we're trying to get into with data-driven stuff, what do you do to gain your edge to compete? Being that you're such, you're really soft-spoken dudes. You guys obviously have to carry a little bit of swagger to compete, but what is it that drives you, motivates you on a day in, day out basis to get after these dudes?
Yeah, well, I always go back to something my dad told me when I was probably, 10, 12 years old. He's like no matter how good you think you are for your age level, like there's always someone in Arizona or Dominican Republic, Japan that's working harder than you. So it always instilled me all right, I gotta kick it in a little bit. So yeah, that's the one thing that's instilled. Someone's always working harder than you. So I try to think no one outworks me. So that's what drives me.
Same thing. We just talked about I got picked up as a free agent. So you go in, you look at the dudes that are signing in the first, second round that are just dudes. You know what I mean? I'm sure, I always talked about Spencer Torkelson, the dudes that signed maybe free agent with the Tigers, and then they're looking at this dude just coming in, hitting up the AA in, one season or whatever. You always want to try and outwork someone else. There's always someone trying to outwork you. So I think that's what drives me is they might be working, so okay, I'm going to work harder than them, just kind of keep climbing that ladder.
So this work ethic has been something for you guys that has been going on since maybe youth, maybe not to the extreme that it is now, but at least once you got to the high school level, when you realized you started having this kind of talent, is that when you stepped up your game? Because what I as a hitting coach, we try to express to our kids, you can't just swing one day a week. So right now, as professional athletes, is it very different than what you were trying to do in college? I mean, you were swinging every day in college. You were, well, not for you. You were drafted out of high school, but you've had some college experience. Is it really, how much different is it with the expectations of you cannot miss a day? Well, at least that's what it feels like.
I would say the training now is a lot more, like, it's a smarter type of training. Like, I know what I need to work on, so it's more specific and that type of thing. And when I was younger, it was more of just get in there, swing, and just like work as hard as I can. Wasn't as smart as what I do now, as far as like I know what kind of training I need. Whether it's, all right, today I'm gonna work on an outside pitch, today I'm gonna work on an inside pitch. Back then, I remember I was 13 when it first kind of clicked for me. I'd go and watch my older brother Stone. They'd have practice down at the St. Louis Sports Center, I think it was called. I'd be watching them, and I'd just go into a cage by myself. I'd just go off a tee, just like trying to barrel balls. I mean, I was just barreling them. I didn't really know what I was doing. Probably didn't look too pretty, but I was just in there barreling balls, and that's kind of where it all started from there.
Yeah.
College for me, same thing. You know, I was more quantity over quality. I would literally have a notes app on my phone. Okay, so on Monday I took 50 swings. Tuesday I wanted to go take 55 swings. Thursday, 75 swings. But I didn't know what I was doing, you know what I mean? I was off the machine. I was just like, okay, I got to get these swings. And once I got picked up by the Astros, you know, that's really where it instilled in me is like, you need to come in here and you need to focus more. If you come in and take 5 swings, getting that feel of whatever you need to be working on, then get out, cool. There was an interview with Mike Trout as well. I thought is that what you're going to talk about? Yeah, he's like, sometimes, man, you're in here battling, you know, you got to figure it out, but some days I might come in and take 5-10 swings and be done for the day, you know what I mean?
And I'm going to go backwards here just a minute, because one of the things before we get into this, I love the thought process that underlies all of this. When you started thinking about there's somebody else, what your dad told you, there's somebody else over here working, there's somebody else here. It goes back to, I'm an old guy, and watching Magic Johnson and Larry Bird compete. And I remember Larry Bird saying, he goes, he says, I better get up and take 500 shots because I know Magic's over there taking 500 shots. So that instilled in both of you guys a level of how to compete. Yeah?
Yeah,
100%.
Because I think in the end, no matter, you know, the swings and all the stuff, you still have to have that base level of how to compete, correct?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I would say that's a big difference I saw in like high school teammates or just guys like, it's almost like everybody calls it the it factor, but nobody explains what the it factor is. I think it's just like you gotta want it. Like that's the easiest way to put it. It's like some guys like will go and even after a game might go hit if they had a bad game. Like whether it's smart or not, at least like you want the effort to go put. And some guys will have a bad game and just go and act like nothing happened and not think about baseball, which also isn't a bad thing, especially at our level. Sometimes you gotta
get away from the game every now and again.
But
it depends on. I think it all depends on the individual too.
Yeah.
You know what? I think it fits within the context of who you are as a person. That doesn't mean you're not competing or things like that. Not everybody is like Nolan Ryan, who after a game he pitched, he's in the weight room, pumping iron. I mean, who thinks like that?
Yeah.
Nolan Ryan.
Well, he was good.
He's a Hall of Famer.
He's good.
Right?
It's okay.
So does that fit, you know, what you're doing and whatnot? But that level of competition has to be the thought process, and I love the fact that, you know, that it factor. And maybe you don't even know what that is till you get to a certain level, right?
Yeah, I would completely agree with that.
The next thing is, so we're talking, you know, you've got your routines, you're there, the physical side of it, you guys work, but now, you know, especially at the highest levels, you start in there, data is in your face, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you think it makes a big difference for kids today who are dealing with data in these levels and how they prepare themselves for that next level if they get to that college level, that pro level? How is it helping them?
Personally, at the youth level, I would say not a whole lot. I think that should be something that a coach should be handling more than the player. I'm working with some kids right now, I won't say where, but they got hit tracks in their front of their face all the time, and they don't care about, how did I get that number, or exit velo or launch angle. It's okay, I got that number. You know what I mean? I talked to a kid while he was setting up the machine, and he had a bad round, didn't really hit too much. And I said, what do you think about right now? What's your focus going into the next round? He's like, man, my exit velo is down. Okay, so how are you going to fix that? What's the process of going about that? So I think it's personally should be more on the coaches to take that number and then tailor something to them to where, yeah, sure, that number may go up, but how are they getting that number? The process of that is the more important piece, in my opinion. So.
And that's a conversation for just like the general athlete, right? I mean, you have a kid that's just simply just looking at numbers. He wants to hear that ding go off and turn around and whip his head around just because he wants, like you said, just hit it as hard and as far as you can. And are we really doing a justice to that young athlete that might have some really bad mechanics?
Yeah.
And again, it goes back to some of the other conversations that you'll see on our other videos when we have. This is a pretty common topic.
And I think this is the conversation to have, because you guys have gone through that process. Maybe you didn't see the hit tracks as, when you were 9 and 10 and 11, right? But as you got into middle school and high school, it became more prevalent, correct?
Yeah, high school is when I first time I ever used it.
College.
And what did it do for you in high school?
I mean, at that point, I was already, I started coming to my own a little bit, maturing a little bit. So I enjoyed it. I wouldn't say it's something I based my entire game off of, but it was more of it was cool seeing, I was just like, this is cool technology, I want to use it. But now I use it more than I did back then, because back then it was still kind of, I want to get good at baseball first before I start directly looking at these numbers, because I feel like if you want to go play in college or pro ball, it's less of how hard can you hit a ball off the tee, and more of can you place a ball in a gap in a game, or it's all game. Like, the scouts are coming to watch you hit off the tee. They're coming to watch what you can do in a game.
I think that's an interesting point. I like that. And we're going to come back to that thought process, because there's some things, because one of the things that we discuss and we love to bring to bear in this is just getting viewpoints from guys that have been through this whole process. Because as we look at what is happening in youth baseball, I think there's always things, there's nothing, I hate blanket statements. I've said it on numerous occasions. I don't like blanket statements, but there's always good and bad, and how can we improve to help these young athletes, correct?
Yeah.
So, and Mitch and I have had this conversation. So when you're looking at data for a 10 and 12-year-old, is it really necessary, do you guys think?
I mean, we might
say it. It's okay. Cool about this show. It's always about opinions.
I want to hear what you're going to say.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's not that important. That's still when you're developing your game. Mm-hmm. But the reason why I'm kind of, I don't know what my real view is on that, because when we were younger, my dad, as far as pitching goes, every other week we'd have a radar gun, and he'd log it. But I've also know the other side. It's all right, they're too young for that. But I kind of agree with what my dad did, because all these Latin guys and Dominican, that's how they practice. How hard can I hit the ball? How far can I throw it? But I do think the difference between doing that with good mechanics and just crazy stuff. But at that age, it does push you a little bit, and I think that's part of the reason why my arm velocity got to where it was when I was older. But at the same time, he would limit my innings, my pitches when I was little, because he wouldn't want to be that dad that's you throw 300 pitches this weekend. But really, it was at that age, it was 40 or 50, and that's max. Once you get there, you're out the game, you're not throwing again. So that's my take on that.
I would say for the I mean, I agree 100%. I think the younger guys are still trying to understand their bodies, how they're moving, and things of that nature. Getting them in a weight room. I watched that one podcast of it, and getting them in the weight room, helping them understand their bodies, different movements will definitely help. Get those numbers up. I don't necessarily think having to shove all that data in their face at that young of age is even beneficial if they even know what it means. You know what I mean?
Do our instructors even know what it means?
Yeah,
that's a whole other
There's another point.
conversation.
Yeah. And we're not. And don't get me wrong, guys. We're not bagging on anybody. That's not what it's about.
No.
We're just having conversation.
Right.
If somebody disagrees, they can definitely throw the old comments there. We'll be happy to talk.
Yeah.
Do you think it's show? Do you think it's about the show then, like what he was kind of alluding to with the radar gun, with just let's get after it, let's go gas, and it's exciting.
It's something to go get. You know what I mean? Like let's go get that extra mile per hour. Okay, let's go work. You know what I mean? 100%. Yeah.
Does it breed that competition to go along with it with your teammates when you're showing those
I would
things?
think so.
Because we're seeing a lot of leagues, like we have hit tracks here, and so we will look our teams up, and it's always a competition amongst each other.
I think that's a great way to do it.
Yeah, and because you could, the way that hit tracks now, what I love about it is you can put defenders out there now, so it could play a baseball game, obviously with AI, but at the end of the day, you can play a game, know, and so it's you can go live pitching, and it gives you a bunch of fun stats. But I'm seeing like at the 12, 13, 14 years old, you're starting to get a lot of those teams that are competing at different facilities over this, and it always seems like a fun thing to do. Yeah. Where it's really not data driven on what is your hand peak speed or things like that. It's let's go see the results, have fun, swing hard, case you hit it kind of routine, and I think that's where it's fun for a 10-year-old.
Yeah.
You might have one special kid that for some odd reason can understand what's going on, but I highly doubt they really understand how their body is actually supposed to work, and so should we be training them to do that if they have that kind of talent at 10 years old versus putting them on some sort of machine or contraptions? I'm sure there's somebody out there that's going to disagree.
Well,
because why not?
Yeah, but that's okay. That's
what do we have to lose? I mean, at some thoughts,
Because Chase is bringing to bear. This is what my dad did. These are things that he's familiar with. When we look at 8, 9, 10, 12-year-olds, right? I think there's something that gets lost in this. Is the game still fun?
Yeah.
Agreed? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, at my age, the game was like, it was the most fun thing. I was like, what I was always looking forward to, because we would go into tournaments to win games, and there's a lot of people that disagree with that, but I've always even when I got to high school, they're like, yeah, we don't need to win this, we're just trying to get in front of college guys, and I was always like, it's just not fun when you do that. Like, if you have fun, you win games, you play well, they're going to come watch you. They're going to be like, wow, that dude's, look at him, he looks comfortable, he's enjoying the game. But I love, my years.
Have to force it.
Yeah, it's like you should want to be there and let's go win a game. And that's fun. Winning's fun. So it's hard to win a game with a frown on your face.
I love that thought process, because there's that edge, where there are clubs out there. It's not about winning. It's always about winning, or else we don't keep score. I believe in winning. I've said this. You can ask Justin. I believe in winning. I just think there's the appropriate way to go about it, and what you're saying. I like the fact of what you said there, Chase, when you said, if you're out playing, you're playing hard, you're winning, they will come and look, because college coaches lose their jobs when they don't win. High school coaches, depending upon programs, lose their job when they don't win, correct? Yeah. So there is a point where winning does matter, and I think there is that balance in that 9, 10, 11, 12-year-olds where we have to find strike a good balance. Agreed?
Yeah, 100%. I think going back to the technology thing, we have a group right now that sometimes we'll play a game with, and then sometimes we'll just have them up the hit tracks.
Yeah.
And they'll have really good swings, and they'll hit it right to like one of those AI guys, and then they're like, oh, how did that get an out or whatever?
Right.
It's not really breeding the fun part of it back into it. So definitely find that balance there, 100%. Yeah.
I think that's what it should be. At 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, I think the development part of it is at the base level. All right? So if we're talking about that, and we're talking about 9, 10, 11, and 12-year-olds, can we use that to help them develop without really putting the technology in their face? I mean, showing them numbers. That's kind of what I mean. Yeah,
he's looking at you. Just go.
Tell us what you think.
So you're asking if that technology will help them develop?
Yeah. As we were saying, as a coach, if I've got all this technology at my fingertips, but I'm a 9, 10U coach, do I really have to put the technology in their face to help them develop if I understand it?
Yeah, I don't think it's easier for me to just think of how I was when I was 12. And I know today is different, but if you would have put that stuff in my face at 12, I would have been like, all right, that's cool, but I have no idea what that means. I think the biggest way to develop at that age is just playing the game. Like, you're not gonna. I wouldn't put a blast motion sensor on a kid that's 12 because, I mean, he's got 4 years. He's got 3 years left for puberty ends at whatever age. So it's like you have all this time to develop. Like 2 years, that kid's gonna be 6 inches taller, completely different swing. So why put? Like, I don't know. I don't agree with the whole blast motion and stuff at that young of an age. At that point, it's just playing the game.
That's a fair assessment, though, when he's talking about that, because we talk about the growth of an athlete, and I've always bring up that you can walk in the facility there and you'll see this little popcorn design when kids change and mature at different age levels. And I was a young high school graduate. I graduated at 17 years old. I was not, when I walked into college and I had to see 21-year-old seniors. That was a huge difference. And you're a college athlete now. It doesn't matter. You have to catch up. From 17 to 18. Huge difference from 17 to 18 versus 18 to 19. When I hit 18, 19, when most people are going into their freshman years of college at 18, their bodies were totally different. So I agree with that. Does that technology help us or not? Again, going back to fun, it is fun, but we have to keep it that.